Greetings and thank you all for having me at this year's convention. My name is Jawaad Sheikh, and I'm humbled and very thankful that you would invite me to take some time and share a few words with all of you. And I hope you all have a walk away with a ton of new ideas and material to enhance your research objectives further. Hope you all have a fantastic couple of days here, and thank you to the people at the TIT for having me here. What I want to do is I want to share with you some of my thoughts on data security and how we as developers can protect ourselves and spread the word in protecting ourselves. See, day after day, we hear about yet another major organization, from like Yahoo to the IRS to the FBI, major organizations getting hacked. When we look at the fundamental reason for the hack, it's essentially through human error or just simple complacency. The idea that nobody will ever hack me, or why would anybody want my data, is a complete blind fallacy. To give you perspective, I run a small consulting firm and would think that nobody will want to find me. I'm so small. When people were actually finding me, and they were finding my contact form in particular on my website, they were finding me for not really the best reasons. Sure, I was getting spam, I was getting a few messages here. Originally, I thought that, well, instead of putting my email address on the contact page of my website, that, I'll put a contact form, and that'll avoid the spammers. But really, as a genius as I thought I was really being hit on another angle, and I'll tell you how. So in the contact form, I started getting spam messages saying I could raise millions of dollars, but also getting empty messages. And it was those empty messages that I thought were really, weird. But I just deleted them. Like, I didn't think much of it. I'd open up and look at it, be like, okay, there's nothing here, and I would delete it. Eventually, I decided to analyze, why is somebody sending me empty messages over and over and over again? And when I analyzed the code of the email, I realized that somebody was sending me a payload. Somebody was sending me code, malicious code, to try and gain access to my systems. And that's when I realized that, hey, even a small person like myself can get hit. And they are going after small businesses, small organizations, because they don't have the IBMs of the world. They can't afford the IBMs of the world to protect themselves. And so that's why I started digging deeper and analyzing, doing more research on how we can protect ourselves. And in the end, I came up with the idea that really it begins at the developer level. It begins with software development. Right? These days, when we write code, we just focus on making it as user-friendly as possible. When in reality, we need to make it as hacker-unfriendly as possible. What happens is that the hacker is looking for the most easiest way to get into our systems. The most easiest way to get into our systems is through user input. So I want to share with you 3 things today that you could do to make user input as hacker unfriendly as possible. So first thing you have to assume is that every input can lead to a buffer overflow. Place limits on the number of characters you take in and truncate the rest. See, we try and make things as user-friendly as possible. We don't want the user to enter in all these words and all these paragraphs and all of a sudden lose half of it, because we don't want to upset the user. But hackers are relying on this. They want to see how many characters they can put in until they overwrite something else. They go beyond the buffer length. We all know that buffer overflows are a very dangerous thing. The hacker is looking for access to the instruction pointer register on the CPU. And if they can overflow that input, chances are they could actually reach that instruction pointer register on the CPU. And that's what they want. So they can upload their own malicious code and be able to jump to that malicious code from the instruction pointer. So we need to place limits on the input. We need to sanity check, not just for checking to see if somebody entered the correct email address, but to ensure that somebody didn't enter in 5,000 or 50,000 characters for an email address. We need to sanity check from a hacker perspective as well. So first, assume each input can lead to a buffer overflow and truncate as much as you can. Second, Filter out all input that belongs to the SQL language. Words like select or union all select, they don't need to be in your user input. Who's going to say union all select at yahoo.com, right? Filter out those words, because hackers are using that to try and inject some SQL into your database to retrieve it. Realistically, they can put in a subquery into your input at any point and try and grab the data. All they want to do is retrieve the data. Especially when they're trying to perform a search. That's really where you really have to be very careful. They're trying to do a search for somebody at yahoo.com, right? Some email address, maybe in a particular database, for example. And what they may end up doing is saying union all select and select star from username in the password table, right? So you want to be very careful of that. You want to filter out all SQL language words. Don't let them use it. Because once they are able to use that, eventually they will find their way to the most important parts of the database, retrieve all that information, download it, dump it, and then do whatever malicious things they want, whether it be with the credit card numbers, whether it be with personal information like driver's license numbers. But in the end, you have to be very careful of what you do, and so we have to filter out the SQL language. The third, this goes hand in hand, is filter out JavaScript commands. So who's going to enter in the script tag, right? You'll be very careful of that. We don't want to see JavaScript commands, whether it be if statements or for loops or whatever. Filter out stuff like that. Filter out if with a round bracket. Filter out for with a round bracket, for example. Filter out the script tag itself. So you want to filter out your input as much as you can to reduce the possibility of a malicious person injecting JavaScript into your input and trying to do whatever they can with it. So you want to be very careful of these things. Now, these are just 3 of the many things somebody could do to reduce the possibility of a hacker getting into their systems. And why do I share this with you? Well, going back to what I said at the beginning, day in and day out, we hear about major organizations like Yahoo and the IRS and the FBI getting hacked. But it wasn't until I heard a story about a hospital in Hollywood, California that was hit with a ransomware attack that really got me going on this. And I want to share with you this story so that it'll galvanize you to go out and help as many people as you can protect themselves so that we don't have more and more hacks happening, especially to the little guys. It's really important. So this hospital in Hollywood, California, some of you may have heard this story already, but it was hit with a ransomware attack, crippling their network. And who knows how many people died? Who knows how many people got sicker? Because they don't quantify those things, right? And this is happening all over the world. Hospitals, organizations that help people with healthcare, they're getting hit left, right, and center. And it's basically affecting the people that can't help themselves, the sick, the weak, the old, right? And so this is what galvanized me to say enough is enough. We need to be able to protect ourselves from hackers, from thieves that go after the weakest of the weak. This is low. This is sick. And so I hope you will go out there and share this message. Filter out, protect your users' inputs, and help as many people as we can stay safe. Again, my name is Jawaad Sheikh. Thank you very much for having me at this conference. I hope you have a wonderful couple of days and you learn a lot and walk away with brand new ideas, with fresh ideas to really make a difference in this world. Take care. Bye for now.